Thanks to FEU Alabang's ACM for inviting me to give this talk. Okay, I was invited here on the notion of teaching you Git and GitHub. No, noong una GitHub lang, and then I asked, don't you want me to teach Git? Kasi 2 hours for like a website is too much. And I think not a lot of people know what Git is and what the difference is between Git and GitHub like right now. No? So before I start actually, I would like to remind everyone I do have some videos up online on YouTube, no, discussing in length yung paano nag-work yung Git and paano nag-work yung GitHub as you can see here. And also a video on how to work with the terminal kasi I'm assuming you should know how to work with the terminal. I'm reminding you of this kasi there will be some overlap, well, di naman actually some, a lot of overlap with the stuff I talk about here. No, and the importance that I'm giving this talk right now to you guys is so you could ask questions. Okay? Yun yung number one importance of the talk. And with additional stuff na I have to talk about. No? Primarily yung focus ninyo is remote collaboration with Git and basically how to use it as a student, as an employee, or as a part of the faculty. Okay? So yun, I'm just reminding everyone na I'm here talking to you live and please sulitin ninyo and ask questions about it. No? Ask kahit any question kahit hindi about sa Git. Okay? So before we start, I would like to say na using Git is no longer a choice, no, but it is a need na. It's a necessity. Okay? So in today's tech ecosystem, kapag I could confidently say kapag hindi ka marunong mag-Git, definitely mapag-iiwanan ka. Okay? Yun nga, using Git is no longer a choice. It's a need na. Okay? Kung hindi ka marunong mag-Git, hanggang ngayon, mapag-iiwanan ka talaga. I could say 99% of the time, Git yung ginagamit. Either in academia, no, when you do research, when you're doing your master's, you're doing your thesis, or you're doing doctoral stuff na, you're definitely gonna use this. Okay? If you're going to work, no, even entry level ka pa lang, there are times na hinihingi na mismo yung GitHub account mo, which implies na marunong ka mag-Git. Okay? And sa amin, sa UP Diliman, freshman ka pa lang tinuturuan ka na nito. Okay? And then, yun yung first subject mo, right? First programming class mo, there's an implication that you have to learn Git. And then, in the coming subjects, Git is used almost all the time and we wouldn't use any other tool. No, so it's not a choice anymore, but it's a necessity. No? When I was in high school, it was a choice na parang, okay, parang mas mapapaganda code ko, mas mapapaayos yung workflow ko. It was a choice. No? And now, hindi na ganun. No, right now, it's one of the bare minimum things that you should know if you're going to work or yun nga, if you're going to academia. Okay. So what we want by the end of the talk is you have more understanding of local and remote repositories, no? Solid foundation on remote projects with Git and GitHub, and since most of you are students, making school projects or working with school projects using Git and GitHub. Okay? What we will tackle in the talk is, I'll just put it there, Git as you work alone and Git with other people as seen here. And what I expect from you is you should have a bit of experience with working on a project. No, kahit school project lang na maliit or any personal project lang, okay lang yun. No, or even a big project, that's better. No, and some familiarity with the terminal kasi we will be using the terminal a lot here. So CMD PowerShell experience is okay pero preferable if you have experience with the Linux terminal. Okay. So let's present the problem. Kung yari, we're at school and we have a school project. Okay, sabihin natin medyo mabigat yung project. Like, midterms or finals project ninyo. Okay? Definitely this will take you a week or two or maybe a month working on it, no? And then, syempre, it's a big project. What you would do is gumagawa ka ng backup mo. No? Kasi if you mess up, you don't want to start from scratch, no? Or you want to make some sort of checkpoints, no? Some sort of milestones na you want to go back to just in case you do something wrong, no? So, when I was in high school or when I was new to programming, this is what it would look like, no? Na you would have folders of your projects na sasabihin, final na. And then you make a new version na final na. And then, ganyan. It would be really messy. Now, to the more intuitive people in the talk, you would number these na version 1, version 2, or version 1.3, parang ganyan. No? Na gumagawa kayo ng sarili nyong versioning system. Pero at its core, you're just duplicating the whole folder, no? You're duplicating the whole project. Now, our current setup, ginagawa talaga natin is we're duplicating the files, no? So, we're making a whole copy every time na gumagawa tayong, na nagde-decide tayong bagong version. Okay? So, what happens is, kunyari 100 files ito, and then you're working on only one file and then you decide to make a checkpoint, hindi ka naman gagawa ng bagong copy ng file na yon. Okay? You make a copy of the whole folder. No? Kasi making a copy of that file alone, it would be messier. Okay, so syempre, intuitively, gagawin nyo ganito. No? Which I think 90% of people who are new to programming do this. No? So working alone, this gives us a lot of problems. So una is space usage. So sabihin natin, yung isang project natin is 100 megabytes or 1 gigabyte, no? That means every version that we're storing is another 100 megabytes or another gigabyte. No, so if we have like 10 versions of that, we're storing 10 times the size of the project. No, which is a problem. Kasi can't we like store less of that? No, that's the question. And sasabihin mo, yes, Carlos, we can. And de-delete natin sila. No, de-delete natin yung mga versions na we're confident na nag-work na. And we could save space. Pero yun nga, that's really not preferable. No, you're deleting versions. No? Kumbaga, hindi naman siya historical revisionism per se. Pero if you want to go back to a version and then you realize na dinelete mo na siya, wala na. Right? So, it's a compromise na kung di-delete mo yung version, you can never go back to that version. No? But at the same time, you save space. So, it's a compromise. And without deleting, you're definitely using more space. Okay? Then the second problem we have is granularity. So what does granularity mean? No? Kunyari, we're working on a website and gusto kong gawin na milestone is maliit. No? Kunyari, gumawa ako ng login button. That's a new version. Kung iniba ko yung kulay ng login button, that's another version. Yung ganun na method is actually preferable kasi we want our changes as detailed as possible. Pero we do have this problem, this first problem of space usage. So kung ginawa natin yun, na gumagawa tayong bagong copy of the new version every time, no, the more detailed it is, the more space we occupy, which is a problem. No? So, kunyari, ginagawa natin is every big change, gumagawa tayo ng bagong folder, no, which is a common occurrence. Yun nga, yung if we make big changes, yung space usage natin babawas. Okay, kasi we're storing less, we're storing fewer versions. No? Pero if we're going to make more detailed changes, more detailed versions, our space usage will skyrocket. Okay? So yun yung problem natin, version granularity. We have to have big changes kasi we have to save space. No? And a consequence of this is contamination naman. So, kung may big changes tayo per version and then we mess it up, no? sabihin natin we're working on one version for the past 10 hours or something, and then we mess up. No, and then hindi na natin alam kung ano gagawin natin. It's irrecoverable na. So that means we have wasted 10 hours of work na. Right? So, yun yung mga problems natin. Space usage, we're using so much space. Yung granularity natin, we're storing not so detailed stuff. No? And contamination na, if we mess it up, we have to go back and we have so many hours wasted kasi we did not track those changes so detailed. No? And then, working with others, we have more problems, no? Now, we don't deal with space usage. Now, we're handling bandwidth usage. Kasi, kung yun nga, 1 gigabyte yung project natin, we have to upload the whole gigabyte and we have to download the whole gigabyte. No, you have to send the whole project each time. Well, you could argue, Carlos, send mo na lang yung files na nag-iba. Then, you're going to sacrifice time naman kasi you have to keep track which files you have changed talaga. No? So, the safest bet mo talaga is to send the whole project. And then you would have edit collisions, no? Magbabanggaan yung edit mo and your teammate, no? If you're a group of 2 working on a project, no? Inevitably magbabanggaan yung code ninyo. Na yung code sa kanya nag-work, yung code sa'yo nag-work, and then kapag pinag-combine ninyo, inevitably there would be some errors, no? And this happens really frequently, no? Speaking from experience, no? So we're wasting a lot of time trying to fix these pa. Okay? So we have some remedies, no? Instead of uploading and downloading, what we could do is use Google Drive or Microsoft Teams and gagamit tayo ng something na synchronized, na Google Docs or Microsoft Teams Word, no? I've never used that before. Something na you could just copy-paste to and then makikita agad ng teammate mo, no? Stuff like that. No. This is a decent remedy na I admit ginamit ko din back in my day. Pero it's not enough. Okay? It's still not efficient. So we still have unsolved problems. Bandwidth usage is still there. Kasi you have to access the site, no? In addition to loading the files. And then yung pagbabangga ng code natin, it still happens. No? And then we have this new problem. So lack of ubiquity. So what does ubiquity mean? It means na G Drive or Teams, they're not everywhere. Okay? Sasabihin mo, Carlos, basta may browser ka, gumagana. What if I told you most of the machines na you work with in the industry wala ring browser? Okay? So the best you could do is upload or download the files through FTP or some other protocol. No, or may flash drive ka, saksak mo dun sa machine na yon. No? So this is a new problem that we're tackling. It's a more mature problem when you go maybe second year or third year college. No? You would recognize this problem na. Okay. So I asked ACM FEU Alabang to send me some questions beforehand so I could answer them. And I'm presenting the first of many. Okay? So this came from you. Do you need the terminal to use Git? Okay. The short answer is, it depends. No? Yung Git, nagpo-provide siya ng GUI interface. Well, that's a WW, GUI and interface. It provides a GUI option. No? And ako personally, I have never used it. Okay? And I could say most of the people I've worked with, they don't use it also. Okay? So, kung siguro school project siya, you don't want to use the terminal, and a lot of you, wala naman problema with not using the terminal at all, go ahead. There's no problem. Pero if you're going to work after graduation, you're going to work in the industry, or you're going to work with a machine na walang way of working with the GUI, with working with Git desktop or something, no? We go back to that problem of lack of ubiquity, no? Kasi yun nga, kung hindi ka marunong mag-terminal to use Git, then you can't use it everywhere. Yung goal talaga natin is we could use Git everywhere. Okay? So when you work in the industry, most of the machines that you work with, ganito lang yung itsura. Like may terminal lang and that's it. Okay? 90% or maybe most of servers nowadays ganito lang. So the servers running Facebook, the servers running Twitter, stuff like that. No, they're just using this. Servers running Google. No, so you have to be familiar with the terminal kasi there's no way you could use Git for desktop here. No, so you have to be familiar with manipulating stuff in the terminal. Okay? So we still have more unsolved problems. Yung pag-copy-paste natin sa G Drive or sa Teams, it's very time-consuming. No? And then, we have no way of pinpointing yung exact na nangyari. That broke our project na nagka-collision tayo. No? Later on sa Git, you will see now we do have a way of doing that. And it's not programmatic. No? When you're advanced na sa Git, eventually what you want is kapag gumagawa ka ng edit sa code mo, gusto mo automatic na check kung tama or automatic na check na nagpapass yung build mo or in other words is gumagana yung program mo. So you could actually do that automatically. Now, we cannot do with G Drive, with Teams, or anything else. No? And that's only a school project. No? What if it was a bigger system for a client na maraming lines of code na each version, sabihin natin hundreds of gigabytes or maybe tens of gigabytes. And a single failure can cost you so much money. No? And what if you were working with a larger team? So kanina, you and just one other person lang. What if you're working with 20 other people? No? Kaya pa ba ng G Drive mo? Kaya pa ba ng Microsoft Teams mo ba yun? And can you imagine gaano kadalas magbanggaan yung code ninyo?